Do those model homes in new construction neighborhoods that are just done so stylishly just make you want to say, "Sold, I'll take it"? Well, I love new construction too, and in this episode of Longmont Homes and Lifestyle, I'm going to give you some tips about buying new construction homes near Boulder, Colorado that you can use anywhere in Colorado. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Marilyn Ackerman, top Longmont Real Estate Agent with HomeSmart Realty. If you are thinking of moving to the Boulder area, then you might want to consider moving to Longmont, Colorado. I put out new videos each week about living in Longmont, Colorado and the best places to live near Boulder, Colorado. So subscribe to my channel and get alerts because I'm sure you won't want to miss any of this great content. So today I'm going to tell you about some tips and how to avoid some pitfalls so your new construction home purchase can be very successful and goes as smooth as possible. In this video, I'm referring to working with a builder who is building a subdivision, so a really large builder. I'm not really referring to a builder who might build one house at a time or just a few units at a time. So tip number one is understanding pricing. When you're driving past a new construction neighborhood and you see a sign on the road that might say around here, new homes in the low 500s. Well, what they're saying there is that's the base price. Now there are a lot of costs that do get added on and they have to be added on. So let's go through what some of those are. Now, one of them is the lot premium. The lot premium is the premium that you pay for a certain lot in the community. Now, in many communities, each lot has a premium. It just depends on the placement for how much it costs. So, for instance, I see a lot of lot premiums in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. Sometimes I do see them as high as $40,000, and it depends on the neighborhood. Another cost that gets added on is structural modifications to the home. Now these can include things like a full or partial basement, an extended master bathroom, or a porch, say, with a covered area. And in Colorado, we love our covered porches, don't we? Gotta block that sun in the summer. So the tip here is to buy the things that you want and include them in your purchase price that are going to cost more later if you hired an independent contractor. So if you think you want the porch with the cover, then I would advise you to put that in your sales contract when you are first purchasing the home, because that type of improvement that's structural will require a building permit, and to have an independent contractor come and do the extra permitting is an extra cost. When the builder, when they apply for the permit, they're applying for the whole house and not things separately. So the structural items that need building permits are best to have done when you're negotiating your contract. Other items that add to the cost are the finishes. Now these can often be the most fun part of buying a new home because you get to pick out your flooring color, your cabinet color, and fixtures and so forth. Now this is one thing where you could buy something lesser than what you really want at the time, such as a light fixture or a bathroom countertop. Maybe buy a lesser grade than you want if you want to save money and you need to save money on this purchase, but later you might upgrade it because it doesn't require a permit to change a light fixture for a fancier one or a bathroom counter for a much nicer one later on. And I always recommend when you go to the design center, determine your budget ahead of time because there can be a lot of things that catch your eye and you want to remember that you do have a certain budget and don't go over it. Tip number two is that you should know that the seller pays for the realtor and not the buyer. Now, at the sales office, there's a sales representative. They are not a real estate agent, but the seller will pay the commission to the real estate agent that you bring in, and it is no cost to you to have your own representation. Now, I do recommend this when you're working with a large-scale builder because It is good to have an agent on your side who is licensed and knows the legalities of buying and selling new construction. Not to mention that they can negotiate for you on some of the finer points of the contract. This can be confusing when you, say, want to just browse a model home and the sales agent is there, and they can, of course, do the entire transaction for you. But I don't recommend that with a large builder. I do recommend having your agent, and the main tip here is determine who your agent is ahead of time, because then you will schedule to look at these new home developments with your agent and tour with them so that they're in the process from the very beginning, because the builders often don't like to start the contract and then involve another agent. It just doesn't always seem right, and they won't always do it, so you can miss out on having your own agent represent you. Now, if it's a smaller builder, they often do hire a licensed real estate agent, and then I would say there's no problem to use that agent because they are licensed and they do have all the information about the legalities, but it's up to you. Tip number 3 is about negotiating the price. And this is a great reason to have an agent to negotiate for you. When you're negotiating with a builder, there are some homes that you just can't negotiate on, but some you can. For instance, if they have a spec home, which is a home that is already built or very near completion, that's one that you can often negotiate on just because they need to sell that at a certain time and they don't have a buyer yet. So that house would essentially sit empty while they wait for a buyer, and that's not a situation that they want to be in whatsoever. Tip number 4, have the builder's lender pay for your closing costs. This is a major expense. It can be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 or even more at closing for the costs of the loan. The builder will have a lender that they have a trusted relationship with, and they would really prefer that you use that lender because they know that that lender closes on the loan on time and they know how to work with that builder. There are plenty of great lenders out there. So what you want to do is compare an outside lender to the builder's lender to see which makes more sense for you financially, and if they're all equal. But if the builder's lender will pay the closing costs for you, then I recommend going with them. Tip number 5, know that the timeline for moving into your house can vary quite a bit. Now, the builder has every incentive to close on that home and get you in there as fast as they can, but they face delays such as bad weather delaying construction, certain subcontractors maybe not showing up for work for certain periods of time. Also, delays in shipments of materials can really affect construction. So although they're trying, they may not get it to you on the date that they have said in the beginning. So have a plan of where to live just in case that happens. Now, don't worry, because they will always be giving you a couple weeks notice about when your closing date is. So you won't be out on the street, so to say, right away, but you may have to plan for a place to live if you are transitioning from, say, a home that you sold to your new home, and there's a gap in there. I hope this information helps anyone who is looking to buy a new construction home near Boulder, Colorado, or in Colorado in general. If you're thinking of moving near Boulder to areas such as Longmont, Erie, Lafayette, Louisville, or Berthoud, then please feel free to contact me. I'd be so happy to help you with your new construction purchase. And if you're moving outside of that area, please contact me as well. I would love to connect you with an agent who's very experienced in new construction in another area of the state. Just let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Thanks for watching.